Hey guys and gals, this is Alex with Legendary Apartment Brokers here in Kansas City. Today is Monday, July 21st, 2025. This is the KC Multifamily Minute, and let's get right into it. First up, as we do every single week, what do we got on the market? What's new? How many are out there? What do they look like? Are they a good fit for your 1031 exchange? How might they fit into your active real estate investing strategy? I'm going to cover all that briefly for each and every property. There are a lot of new ones on there. I admit several of these are also my new listings, but there are some new and unique listings here that I'm going to cover here. So pay attention. Let's get right into it. So first up, what do we got? We got the stats. Let's pull up the stats. This week we've got, looks like there are 43. So I'm over here on LoopNet. For podcast listeners, I got LoopNet pulled up. 43 listings out there. 41 of those are available. 2 are under contract, so it's pretty consistent, somewhere around that 40 range. A couple there listed as under contract. We know that some of them are likely under contract, maybe not marked as such. And then we have 3 new ones on LoopNet, which we'll cover here in a second. And then over on the MLS, also you can go to my website, legendarypartbrokers.com. MLS feeds into that, feeds into Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin.com, all the major platforms. But over there, we've got a lot more to look at, basically double. So there's 87 listings over there. That's a lot. 87. 69 are available, which means 18 are under contract. Again, a lot of those are new listings of mine. Not a lot, but let's call it for the 8 or 10 that are new over there, 2 or 3 of those are my listings. So we'll cover those here in just a second. But first up, we've got LoopNet pulled up. We got the 3 new listings we're going to cover and talk to you about what's the price per unit, how they might fit into your 1031 exchange, what's the class, location. So first up is this property here in Oak Grove. So podcast listeners, I'm zooming in here to the Oak Grove area, which is going to be just east of Grain Valley, right on I-70, which runs from Kansas City to St. Louis. It's a 12-unit complex for $635,000, so just a bit over $50,000 per unit. Very classic, all one roof, a large rectangular-shaped type of building. Oak Grove is going to be a B or B plus type of location. I like it a lot. Of course, I'm out here in eastern Jackson County as well, but the I-70 corridor is heavily populated, and people, as they want more space, maybe smaller school districts, continue to move out east here along I-70. Should never have an issue getting these apartments filled, actually at pretty good rents. So I would consider this, like I said, kind of a class B, B plus, maybe B minus. The building's a little bit maybe older from what you're used to, or the style and the size of units are smaller. But that could fit into your 1031 exchange really well if you're okay with these outskirts of the Kansas City Metro, which of course I am, and I'm a proponent of that. Okay, so $635,000 for 12 units. A good little spot there. Probably some smaller units to keep in mind, but I like it. Okay. All right, next up, we got one up in Buckner, Missouri, which is a 42-unit complex. It's unpriced. It's Section 8 tenants, according to the listing. I'm not going to talk a ton about it. Buckner is another kind of Oak Grove, Excelsior Springs, Missouri City style property, a little bit maybe up and further out of the metro. I mean, it is in the metro, but up and further on the outskirts of the metro. For some people, it's very small, but something to keep in mind as you're looking at that. It's 42 units, Section 8 style building, built in 1971, okay? All right, so I would call that a class B minus, C plus location. All right, so last up here on LoopNet, what do we got? We've got a property in the historic Northeast, the Lawndale portfolio of 3 different properties for $2.4 million. I believe it's a little bit less than $50,000 per unit here with this property, some vacancies. You guys know this. I don't do a ton of business up in the historic Northeast unless it's very block by block specific locations. The further west you get in the historic Northeast, in my opinion, the better it is. This is kind of out on the outskirts. I'm not going to comment too much further on that particular property there just because I don't do a ton of business in that area. Okay. All right. So that's everything brand new on the open market here on LoopNet. So let's pop on over to my website, legendarypartbrokers.com, which is powered, the MLS powers this, and look at the new listings we've got here. And this one shows there's 14 listings. Well, there's several kind of semi-duplicates or package of properties, and some that we're not going to spend a ton of time on. But first up is this fourplex for $675,000. It's located basically, we'll call it Independence, Raytown area, but it's Kansas City, Missouri. A little pricey for that location, that area, in my opinion. These are newer style fourplexes, but this is going to be a class, I would call it a class C plus area. Newer fourplex, $675,000. So you're looking at well over $150,000 per unit there for fourplex, which is going to be on the quite a bit higher side for fourplexes in this Independence area. But if you want and you need a fourplex, that could be a decent fit for you. I've got some others that might be a better fit, okay? All right, so zooming back out here, that's that property. Next up, another one we're not going to spend a ton of time on is actually zooming in here for podcast listeners, 2 triplexes right next to the Country Club Plaza on the heart of Country Club Plaza, Ward Parkway. 2 triplexes for almost $2 million. Price per unit on that is well over $300,000. So you can tell these are trophy assets. Class A location, but it's trophy assets type of living. If you live and own in the area, maybe you want to pick those up. They are very large, but it's not going to be any kind of traditional value add play there for that. Maybe some appreciation play in there, but more of a trophy asset for you for your 1031 exchange, where you're like, hey, look, I really love this area. I want to buy in this area. I want to maybe live here, visit here once in a while, that kind of asset, okay? All right, so zooming back out, getting our bearings again on this map. Podcast listeners, next up is going to be another triplex, also in the urban core. This one's zooming in here, this one is going to be in Columbus Park. I'm sorry, my map gets all messed up here sometimes when I zoom in and out. But Columbus Park is known as Little Italy, east of the River Market, considered part of the downtown loop. Very high demand area. $550,000 for a triplex is actually a fairly decent deal up there. If you love the urban core, you love the Columbus Park, River Market area, it could be a cool spot for you. Typically more of an owner-occupied type of price point here. Less than $150,000. So, 150 before 50. No, less than $200,000 per unit for a triplex. Again, it's going to be a Class A location, but beyond that, it's more of your trophy asset or living in one unit, renting out the other type of situation versus a cash flow type of property. Okay. All right, zooming back out. See if this works this time. All right, so we covered those. We've got another one in the historic Northeast. Oh, wait, that's the same one we covered last time, the Lundale portfolio. Another one over here off of Warwick, 4063 Warwick Boulevard. This is actually a set of condos, 6 condos in a building. There's 7 condos in the building, but 6 here, guys. Zooming in for podcast listeners, I'm at basically 39th and Main. It's 4063 Warwick Boulevard for $1.1 million for 6 units. So less than $200,000 per unit. Those are all condos. I know the building. Walked by it. It's by a Starbucks. I own there on 39th and Main. They're very nice condos, but again, that's more of if you're in the condo market and you like that type of property for $200,000 per unit or so, a little less. Could be an interesting fit for you there. I just think that there's better priced buildings, Class A location, that are around there, but I'm not saying it's a bad deal. Have to look at the rents there to see really kind of where you're at. But if you got 1031 exchange, you like the condo aspect, so you can sell off those individually over time if you wanted to, for retirement or whatever. Could be an interesting fit for you for your 1031 exchange, okay? All right, what's less? Man, there's a lot on the market, isn't there? Like I said. So covering all of those, we've got a couple other properties up here in Lansing. So it's 13 units for $1.2 million. A couple of fourplexes. I think it's actually a 6-unit building and a 7-unit building for $1.2 million up in Lansing. So that's on the far northwest corner of the metro. Podcast listeners, I'm zooming in here. Lansing, Leavenworth, same little submarket up there, powered or influenced heavily by the military base. It is a cool little spot. I think just on a price per unit basis, it's probably okay. less than $100,000 per unit. We have to look at the rents there, but I would consider that more of a B- location just because of the outskirts, maybe C+, depending on the block-by-block basis there of Lansing. Okay? Okay, so that's that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other ones here. Covered Oak Grove, covered all these other ones. The Benton Boulevard one, I think we've seen on and off market in the past, or if not, it's in a spot here. I'll just zoom in for 2 seconds here. Benton Boulevard, I'm not even sure how many units it is, but it's east of 71, south of 70. I don't do any business in this area. I consider this a Class C- location, although block by block can be better than that. Okay, so that's all I'm going to talk about there on these classic colonnade style properties here off of Benton Boulevard. All right. Zooming back out, what else we got? What's left that's new on the market? I'm going to skip over my listing just for right now. So we've got, I'll skip down here to this $550,000 property on Locust Street in Kansas City. This one is a duplex in Hyde Park. So again, Midtown, Class A location, $550,000. Looks like it's probably a former Airbnb just based on the photos. Again, that's a high price Class A location, but $275,000 per unit. I'd love for the seller to get that price, but could be a stretch for you unless you're going to live in one unit, rent out the other, make it work that way for you, which would not really be a 1031 exchange type of property there for you, okay? So two other, though, new listings are 2 fourplexes in Lee Summit. So you guys know I love Lee Summit's Class A submarket, exceptional suburban submarket. 2 Class A fourplexes, $750,000 for each fourplex, so a little bit less than $200,000 per unit. These are very large, very flat fourplexes. They're all 3-bedroom units, newer construction. Let's see when it was built. If we've got a internet connection here that works. Well, anyway, I've looked at these several times in the past. I like them. I think it's a stretch on the price. Maybe if they sit there a while, it could be a great fit for somebody. But that's kind of what these things are starting to go for, is up here $625,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 for a fourplex in Lee Summit. Looks like it was built in 1991, so you're going to get modern finishes on this. Rents, in my opinion, should be dang near $2,000 per unit. My guess is they're probably not quite getting that. But if you got a 1031 exchange, you want a Class A location, you love fourplexes like I do, at least taking a look at these would be worth your time, in my opinion, here. So anyway, let's talk further about those, okay? All right, so next up, got a couple more to go over here, and that's going to be my house packages, my listings here for a couple different house packages. I've got a Class A submarket house package out here for $550,000. I've got a couple other house packages here in more of a Class C working class area for $550,000 and $575,000. These are all houses that are very good from a lot of different standpoints. They are have a lot of value to them. You can sell them off over time. You guys have heard me talk about this in the past. I like house packages for more of a passive income, because remember, the tenants are doing all their own lawn care. They're cleaning their own gutters, hopefully, if you've got that in the lease. They're taking care of the property. So really, you're only doing a little bit of maintenance work on the house when it needs it, such as a broken dishwasher or whatever. And the rest is just lease up. And these people stay for a long time, especially in these, houses that have garages and are larger. They've got their family in there. They've got a whole bunch of tools and cars and different things. So they like to stay a long time, keep their rents reasonable. And it's, like I said, more of a passive income type of investment. And you can sell them off over time. So we've got less than retail prices on these here that could be a great fit for you. Several under $600,000 with 3 or 4 houses, some with 2 houses if you're in the Class A located type of location. Okay? Guys, that's a lot here. That's everything on the open market here in Kansas City. You know how to reach me. You got any questions about the 1031 exchange? Want to talk more about any of these deals or others? Give me a call. Send me an email, alex@legendaryapartmentbrokers.com. We'll talk soon.